still waiting for the perfect product idea, while you're sitting there waiting, delaying, overthinking, others are launching, selling, and building their empire. Let me go ahead and just walk you straight through how you can go ahead and get that first one launched, ready, locked, and loaded. What's going on? My name is Justice Severin. If it's your first time here, welcome to the channel. I really make these videos for coaches and creators who are looking to go ahead and create a wildly profitable personal brand, especially with a tiny audience, not needing the masses in order to make a splash. At the very least, have your income itself make a splash. All right. So today is no different as we dive into this topic here. I want to help you really create that first digital product, digital offer, that easiest way to get it done within 72 hours. Okay. And this is a process that I go through consistently because I'm always rolling out new stuff. At the same time, though, I want you to kind of get an idea of the scale that you're making these things at. I'm not always trying to, recreate the wheel. That's not why I kind of enjoy this process. But it's also, and I also kind of get to scratch that itch helping students to go through this process as well too. But the reality is that you're kind of going to see the different layers within the business, within your own, within mine here, how this all kind of comes into play as well. So definitely excited to get into this one. Obviously, if it is your first one here, go ahead and drop a comment. Let me know if it's your first time watching. You're here for a good one for sure. If you're returning, that means you like this stuff. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Click that subscribe. We got more coming your way. As you know, I'm dropping these videos every Wednesday live at 4 o'clock, right? At least that's how I've been doing for the past couple of years. So really, it's going to be a good one here today. I want to get into the good stuff here as well too. So you don't have to hit the like button just yet, but I'm sure there's going to be some good value coming your way. Until then, I think let's just go ahead and get this thing moving. So out the gates, let's just jump right into this. I want you to understand what is the goal of the offer or the product that you're looking to make. This is a very important piece because once again, whether it's for a free offer, it's a low ticket offer, a mid ticket offer, a high ticket offer, we need to understand how is it going to serve this sales process. That's the big piece you want to tap into. Like when it comes to the free side, right? You're basically creating this kind of a lead magnet, most likely if it's a free digital offer, which once again, there is room for all of these. Like this training here today is going to help with all of that, right? But when it comes to this here, the free is really more for lead magnets. Low tickets are really more for qualified buyers. Mid to high ticket is really more for now this is where you're going to create your max profit and kind of really where your overall positioning is going to be. I've got plenty of video trainings around like offer creation, stuff like that, kind of in a bigger sense for like more the main high ticket juicy offer. And it's like, that's the kind of stuff where the branding is built off of. But really for today, I want you to talk about like how you're going to create these actual digital assets in a sense here, which really it's almost like the thing within the message, right? And a lot of the times I will say this too, it's the result that matters typically a lot more than the stuff you're selling people. So keep that in mind even as we're going through this as well too, because this is what allows me to not overthink stuff like crazy here. Like you don't need the perfect offer. You just need a product that exists and solves a specific problem. That's what you're shooting for. That's where the aim is. That's the goal. That's your North Star with a lot of this here. And then once again, it's this thought that you have to go above and beyond for someone who has once again, paid you nothing if it's for a free lead magnet or paid you very little if it's for a low ticket offer. A lot of like, especially in those two areas, people are overthinking drastically on those price points when they really don't need to. You need to just be focused on, once again, this product that solves a specific problem, right? Like, let me know. I feel like for you, right, like really should be thinking about these big pieces, right? Let me knock down a few kind of lies, myths, I feel like, that are keeping people stuck, because I think that a lot of times we look too far ahead when it comes down towards what do we actually need to make insert this digital product successful, insert this digital offer successful, right? Number one, people are always thinking, I need a funnel, right? You need a funnel to make this stuff happen. Nope. Like as long as you've got a payment processor, right? You got Stripe, PayPal, whatever it may be, you got DMs, that's really all it takes. Like notice I didn't even say content, right? You don't even need like content to act as your funnel here. Can content help you? Sure. Can having a funnel help you? Sure. But these are not needed at all, right? I'll give you an example for myself here. When I went ahead and like was selling some of my first kind of these low ticket offers here, I remember for me, I was trying to sell through content, and I sold about 14 slots. It was kind of this live thing I was hosting there. So 14 slots. And then from there, I think literally maybe a few or a couple of them came from content, but the majority of how I filled those slots were from me actually getting out there in the DMs and reaching out to people who I already having past conversations with, and making sales that way, right? We overthink things, and we sometimes want to take this quote unquote leveraged approach. But what happens when the leveraged approach isn't working, or it's delayed and you want speed? You want to get some more urgency and scarcity because you want slots to start filling up instead of just kind of sitting there waiting. And it's like, oh, well, you launched this thing a week later, you only got 1 or 2 people to buy and you're just waiting for it, right? So once again, do you need a funnel? Answer is no, right? I always say high ticket sales are born in the DMs, right? So for one, the next piece here, I would say is another kind of lie and a myth, is that you need to teach everything. That's where a lot of people get this stuff wrong, especially when we're talking about the free, the low ticket, the mid ticket. You could argue the high ticket, you don't even need that if we're being honest, because you could argue there's like kind of your core high ticket offer, and then maybe you have an ascension offer that's behind that, where now that's where, because you can only teach people so much. A old coach of mine used to always say, if you want to help somebody fail, give them everything they need on one call, right? Just in one coaching call, give them everything they need. That's one way to guarantee that you overwhelm somebody and they probably take no action at all, right? So that's just one. So really the goal here is you want to solve one specific step. That's how you want to go ahead and take this approach, right? And then the other kind of third myth, lie, if you will, here is that you need fancy branding, right? With any of this stuff, like not even a logo is required. Like no logos required, no color schemes required, no one picking the ideal font is required. That's not what this. It comes back towards, once again, can you create this product, bring it into existence that solves a specific problem? Emphasis on the word specific. That's the big one, right? And so when it comes down to you making this, I would say use what you already know. Like use what you already know and have created in the past to create this first digital product, this first or next. For me, I've created so many of these. And that's how I've been able to do it very quickly, because I go, and when I say quickly, within 48 to 72 hours, because I'm using this past leverage, right? It's the reason why I'm able to get out there and actually like pre-sell stuff a lot of the times. Just get people sold on the message and the result. And once again, I'm not even talking, it doesn't have to be a monetary result, but get them pre-sold on that. Now get people in the door, and now I go ahead and build it. And I can build it within that short, time frame, 48, 72 hours, because I'm using leverage of pieces and content that I already have that in existence, right? Using content like, whether it's past emails, posts, lessons, just pieces that I have already as the core foundation to build off of, right? Because the reality is most people, really is the truth. Most people are not going to go through your thing. That's the reality. If we look at the numbers, you look at the data, right? I've sold a lot of low ticket products, right? And even this happens for high ticket, for being real too, just not as much, right? Because when you pay, you play. And really when you pay attention, and especially the more you pay, you're typically going to pay more attention. But for the lower ticket stuff, the free stuff, most people are not going to go through your thing, right? At least at length, right? They might open it, but like, are they going to actually go through, and then are they actually going to implement with that, right? So no. So the reality is the goal and that's why this ties back towards the beginning, right? Always start with the end in mind. The goal is to get someone to raise their hand. That's the goal of this product most times, right? Is to get someone to raise their hand. When somebody obviously buys a high ticket thing, the goal really is to kind of get them there. So that's not, the idea isn't to get them to raise their hand, but you could argue it still can be if you think about the idea of what if you have a back end high ticket offer, right? Maybe your front end is 2 to 5K, but you have a back end that's 10 to 20K, 10 to 50K. This now, so it's like the front, hey, the goal of the high ticket here is to actually get someone to raise their hand and say, hey, I really want to solve this big problem, right? Now you help them solve the big problem. Let's get them to the next one, right? So really, but once again, the benefit is with the higher ticket side, they're probably going to take more action and lead towards the high back end ticket there, right? So, but really you want to keep this in mind, because I share this whole idea of you don't need to go crazy with the teaching and teach everything all XYZ here. Because you want to go ahead and launch lean, get feedback, and improve as you go. That's the philosophy here. Speed is your edge, right? Speed is how you want to go, right? Money loves speed. That is just the fact. That is the truth. And so you want to lean into that here. 9 out of 10 people overthink before they launch anything. And this overthinking leads to delay, which leads to no money being made, which in reality goes against everything that got them going in this in the first place. So speed is your friend. Speed is your edge. Lean into that. Speed is not your enemy, okay? A lot of people want to buy into, and I think that, like, guys like Alex Mosey are awesome, but sometimes people take what he says too far, even in ways that I know he doesn't even mean it like that, right? He just, he's got so much content, he's probably just shuffling through stuff. But it's this idea of you need the perfect product before you launch. Like, if you want to have a perfect product, like, try to make maybe like your back end a super high ticket offer, perfect. But the reality is, all those offers in front of that, those do not need to be perfect, especially before you launch, right? And you could argue the back end doesn't even need to be perfect yet. Like, just the reality is, you need to go and then strive towards perfection, right? Do your best to get it to perfect, but do that with speed, because the reality is, your gut does not have the answers. You need to get it out there in the marketplace and go from there. The feedback loop from a buyer you're going to receive, that's where really you can design and create a real product roadmap that's going to actually keep things moving, right? That's going to actually make tangible progress, because you're making updates based off of real stuff, right? Not just fluff that's going on through your head, right? I am a big believer that your intuition, your gut, is one of the most powerful assets that you have as an entrepreneur. The problem is that we try to put our gut to the test too early in the process. We need to understand off of real data. Let our gut view the data. Let our intuition view and see the data, and then make decisions off of that. Imagine what's better of a gut decision you're going to have when you can see some data, compared towards, I'm just going to go off of what I think and I have no data behind it. There's a difference, right? So it's not that you don't want to trust your gut, trust your intuition, but you want to make sure you're not setting yourself up for failure, right? And really, so once again, this is why it all comes back towards, we need to keep this speed over the polish, and we need to keep testing over perfection. Speed over polish, testing over perfection. This is going to be a game changer for us now when you get things rolling, right? Pick one idea. I'm going to give you this before we kind of get into more of this implementation how pieces. I want you to just think about this right now. Pick one idea, right, by the end of this video, or even the idea that's come together for you right now, and commit to launching it this week. This week. I can almost guarantee you that something has come up for you while you've been listening to this, right? Just go with your gut and start there. Go with your gut and start there. Jot down one thing you've already taught. Jot down that one thing you've already taught, help with, or explained within the last 3 months, right? That's your starting point. Got it? All right, good. If you got it, click that like button and make sure you like this video, because now the next part here, we're going to tap into that much more of implementation with this stuff here as well too. But definitely hit that like button if you're getting some value here. Comment down below if you want to let me know also what you think that one thing is, and I'm happy to give you some feedback on maybe what kind of product I would build off it personally as well too. So let me know. But let's go ahead and tap into it. I want to give you a brief framework on how you can go ahead and create this first digital product. There's not even service, because you really shouldn't be making a service if it's free, low ticket, mid ticket, maybe, right? But free, low ticket, mid ticket, we really want to go ahead and create this product, right? This potential info product heavily on that side. That's where the leverage is really going to be as a coach or a creator, right? So let's go ahead and tap into this quick framework that's going to help you to create that. Number one, and this is a 3-part framework. Number one, what is the problem? What is the problem you can solve? Like I said, think about the thing that, as I've been going through this right now, what are you thinking about is that thing that you can help someone with? A lot of times we think about, it's like, I don't know what, in sales, people have a tough time putting themselves in the shoes of others. We know that, or if you don't know, that's the best way to go about sales. It's not about what you want to give them, it's about what they want to receive. And so you need to put yourself in their shoes. So a lot of times we have a tough time actually thinking of things that way. So what you can try to do is reverse engineer, right? So think about the problem that you want, or the solution you want to give to people. Okay, now you have to get really good at thinking, what problem does that solve? And tie it towards their problem and not just the solution, right? I'll give an example here. Like, you want to help somebody. I'm going to teach you my amazing 3-pillar content framework, right? Well, the reality is they don't really care about the 3-pillar content framework. What they care about is making content that's going to get them clients, right? Or maybe they just care about getting clients. So you have to tie the content towards that. Like, that's how this has to work. So what is the problem that they're really living and dealing with right now? And how can you go ahead now and start to generate more curiosity, messaging that really ties to that problem, right? Because that's where it comes down to the hook, the title, whatever this product is. You can start to really think about the problem that they're going through. And I want you to think about the problem. It's really, you can say this is really like is the 3 Ps framework here. It's problem, and then process is the next one. we start with the problem because the messaging can build around the problem, but now the solution can start to kick around the actual process, right? What's the process you can offer to help them solve it, right? And this now is where you're obviously teaching your methodology, your unique mechanism, right? Some of this stuff can sometimes come into play when it comes towards things, but this doesn't need to be the hook, though. That's where people get messed up, is they want to go ahead and have their process be the hook that brings folks in. Nobody cares about your process. They care about what it can solve. They care about the problem they have and how they can solve it, which then leads towards the third P, which is the promise, right? What outcome will it generate? And I'll tell you this right now. This is a big piece that I want you to keep in mind, because once again, think of this digital product we're thinking about here. There's different layers and there's different goals based off of the ticket price of it, or if it's for free, right? If it's free, low ticket, mid ticket, high ticket, right? Regardless, I would say, especially if it's free, low ticket, mid ticket, it doesn't need to be the big end result. As I mentioned, for high ticket, technically, it does not even need to be about the big end result there. A lot of the time, people are willing to pay more for the support and the accountability. You don't need to go crazy for the big result that doesn't include that in the front end, right? With the low ticket, with the free, with the mid ticket here, right? When it comes to the super high ticket stuff, that's where now you're giving them that support. You're giving them that accountability. You're giving them the done for you potentially, at the very least, the done with you. That's where that stuff's coming in. And also, at the very least, too, it's not that people always want the done for you in the way that you're thinking of it. A lot of times, they're willing to have where you're just doing the thinking for them. That in itself can be extremely powerful here, right? So we want to really go about things that way. And we want to use the information from the past to dictate your starting point now with how we can really package all this together, right? Because a lot of the times we think, okay, this is great. I'm hearing what you're saying, but like, how do I actually go ahead and think about where the starting point is with this digital product that I want to launch? If you want to start to think about that, think of it this way. Use the information that you have from the past to really dictate it. Because I'll give you an example for me. My first ever free course that I made, it's called the 6-Figure Lead Leverager, right? That's still probably out there somewhere, you can find it. But I thought of the name because of a piece of content I put out that was a call to action post. It said, hey, I made this new thing. Are you interested? And I called it the FB Lead Leverager, right? And it blew up. People loved it. I got like 200 people raising their hand for it, right? So because of that, and I tried posts like this all the time, but this one really took off like that. So now I was like, all right, you know what? Clearly this is an angle that gets curiosity, gets people moving. Let me go ahead and build something bigger off of that. And so that's what I mean. Think about information you have in leverage that currently exists. You don't need to have something that's generated 200 hand raisers off of it. What if you got something where you've just been getting crickets? Now all of a sudden you get 10 people, 25 people. Like that can be your starting point. Lean into that there. I think of it it's the same thing for me also when I think about on the higher, like that's more like the free side, right? When I think about creating a higher ticket digital product, digital service offer here, I think about my first ever coaching program. In a sense, like my first ever coaching program that I rolled out in 2020, like that's the same coaching program I have today, but it's just evolved drastically over time, right? And really at first it was called the OGC Intensive Mentorship. And really for that, it was just at the bare bones. There was no course with it. It was just support. I didn't have like a group or a mastermind. It was just that was it, But then over time, I started to bolt on these pieces. And I bolted on strategically based off of what my clients and students needed the most at the time. What I was seeing the marketplace and buyers were willing to spend money on. Because now I'm building off the right things. There's also a perk of going that route too when you're really rolling this stuff out where it works out for you and the buyer. Because think about it. A lot of the times, this is where people go wrong. They want to build, you have a high ticket coaching program you want to make, but you're like, I need to have a course with this. But now, though, here's the reality. You have no clients, no students. You build this course, but now you don't even, the course is made for people who aren't, the people who end up buying, they're not even interested in it, right? And what the course actually has, they actually would prefer 9 times out of 10 a customized path that speaks specifically to where they are at in their business. But instead, we go ahead and do it the other way, right? So these are different ways that you can go ahead and take an approach that is more leveraged. And now you're doing what I said, right? You're taking speed over that perfection, right? We're testing instead of looking for, I need to have this perfect thing here out the gates. That's the big piece. I have a client, Sarah. She went ahead and actually made a free masterclass she did, right? She got people, a bunch of people to opt into it. And then from there, she went and took that recording And now she's selling it, and not only just selling it, she now has where she's even getting it to her students, and now she's giving them where they can actually get affiliate sales from selling it as well too. It's like you're now taking this one thing and almost creating this sense of passive income from it, right? I don't really believe in passive income like that, because really any kind of passive income has some kind of upfront work or this kind of maintenance work, if you will, here. But at the very least, you're getting that kind of leverage here if you can tap into it. So that's really what I want you to start to lean into here, and how you can really get this thing off and running, right? And so and now I'll also leave you with this here too is, so now we start to have the ideas of all this, I want you to start to think about how can you make a quick and dirty version of your digital product offer here to start, right? That kind of scrappy minimum viable offer, as I like to call it there too, that approach, right? And so really one little piece I do to start is have this kind of outline with create an outline for it that has minimal friction. You don't want to create an outline where now there's a bunch of roadblocks that are just going to be setting yourself up for. Like I said, oh, I want to create this thing, but I want to create like a 20 video course. It's like, well, now you're setting yourself up where you're going to be delayed for just making 20 videos, and it's going to take you now a lot longer than you intended, right? So we don't want that. So really what we want to do is think about how we can build this currently, right? There's a couple ways that you can build it for right now versus how you would build it in the future. Right now in the start, you can easily build this with a Google Doc, build this in Notion, build this with a series of Loom videos, build it with a PDF. Like that's it. Like I even wrote down a couple of examples for you, right? You can easily build like a checklist PDF for new moms on sleep training routines, right? You can easily have where, a 30-minute video on how to get set up a Kajabi sales page, right? A 5-day accountability challenge for fitness beginners, a Notion board template for managing ADHD workflows, an Airtable CRM for client management. Like these are just some simple ideas where you could easily go ahead and knock these out with something that is very easy to create. That's what I want you to have for the current present situation right now. In the future, you can go ahead and now start to create more mini courses, right? You can create paid workshops. You can create template packs. But don't do that right now. That's going to slow you down. All right, because I want you to really, this is my call to action to you as far as like not me giving you something, but take this one last framework so you can really launch it imperfectly this week and refine it as you go. Right? 4 pieces. I want you to build it. I want you to test it. I want you to tweak it. And I want you to scale it in that order, right? Get out there and build it right now. Get out there and test it quickly. Get out there and tweak it with feedback from buyers and people, even who say no, why aren't they buying it? Tweak it from there and then scale it up as you go. That's the sweet spot. All right. So, hey, hopefully you got a ton of value out of this here too. I'm telling you, like, you take this stuff and run with it. It's the same way that I am helping students build out their digital products, and the same way that I'm doing this on a consistent basis as well. Right. And obviously too, as you can probably see, I've generated over $1 million really selling low ticket, mid ticket, high ticket offers just like this that I broke down here today with simple client acquisition systems and strategies. All right. So really, I want to give you a copy of my bestseller business manuscript showing you how to do the same thing for free. If you want that, click down below in the description. You'll see I have there too, my manuscript there. It's easy there for you. Just tap into it. And if you want to go ahead, honestly, and take this to the next level and build a brand around kind of all of this that makes selling now this digital product and offer that much easier, go ahead and check out my video that actually breaks all this down. I'll link it up at the top. It's really all about, how to build a personal brand that sells, right? So that's really a big piece. That's going to kind of be the thing to tie all this together for you and just add more leverage. Because think about it, is like once you go ahead and build it, now you're testing and starting to tweak it. Now imagine you build those tweaks in a way that just makes not just the digital product better, but your messaging, your overall marketing strategy that now makes it that much more magnetic and starts bringing buyers your way. All right. So it's a handful today. Like I said, if you got some value here, like this video, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Take it easy.